Welcome to Women in Cybersecurity Beyond Borders. This is our final session of what has been an amazing last 9 days. Where this is a jam-packed session. We have quite a bit of people on this session, and we want to get through it over the next 60 minutes. So we're just going to jump right into quick introductions right across the board. We'll start off with Janet coming in from Silicon Valley. Janet, if you can just do a quick introduction about your current role and actually throw in there your educational experiences if you don't mind. Janet?
Sure, it's my pleasure. Thank you, Maddie, and everyone. Welcome. I am in the Silicon Valley in the aerospace defense industry for over 21 plus years. I actually have a background majored in sociology from UC Irvine and had a high interest going into the IT field and ended up working in IT without a computer science degree. I network and taught myself various different technology. And right now my role is a senior computer system analyst doing internal IT audit and also managing projects that are cybersecurity related. It is my pleasure to be with all of you. I'll turn it back to Maddie.
Thank you, Janet. Self-taught, we're going to get into that in a few minutes. Sapna, all the way from the beautiful country of India, from Bangalore, please introduce yourselves, your current roles, and some of your educational experiences, please.
Yes, hi everyone. My name is Sapna Singh. So currently I'm working as a principal cybersecurity architect, wherein my day job is to assess the threats and risk related to the data and organizational infrastructure or network architecture or applications or cloud environments. Prior to that, I have had also opportunity to work with multiple other organizations. So I started my career as a software developer, and then after some time, I felt that I wanted to do something else. And then I applied for this MS course in information security and cyber laws. And at that time in India, my college was the only one providing MS in cybersecurity. And that time it was information security, not even cybersecurity. But now if I say that we have a lot more colleges, those who are providing the cybersecurity degrees and the courses. So that's about me.
Amazing. And we definitely want to talk about your last statement there about a lot more colleges providing cybersecurity education and degrees. And now we're turning it over to South Carolina. Belinda, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you very much. Again, I'm Belinda McKay Hearn. I'm here from South Carolina, and I promise not to use much twang. I am the chapter president for Blacks in Technology Columbia, which is the official chapter of the South Carolina region of Dynamic, Growing, Vibrant Blacks in Technology Foundation, which is a nonprofit organization, a 501c3. And actually the purpose of our group is to network, learn best industry practices, and to advance your information technology careers. Our goal and our number one mission is to stomp the divide between Black tech workers and to fundamentally influence and affect change on an industry that has historically not sought parity with respect to Black workers. So our intent is to level that playing field through training, education, networking, and mentorship with the support of our allies, partners, sponsors, and most importantly, our global members. And a little bit about me personally. Actually, my background mostly began in education. I was a visual arts and graphic design teacher for over 17 years. And then I moved into education administration, where I was an online technology and career coach. And then from there, director of technology for entire school district. And in reference to cybersecurity, actually, I was self-taught as well as one of the other fellow panelists. And my main inspiration was being told that I couldn't, or I could not learn it, and I could not be successful. I see myself as a selfless leader. So I love mentoring, providing resources and career advice. And I like to, as far as education, reach students as young as possible to show them what's possible, because at the end of the day, you just don't know what you don't know. So letting those students and adults know what is possible. You don't have to be something all the time when you grow up. You can create something, you can solve a problem. Thanks.
Malcolm X said it the best. Education is a passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. So, Belinda, thank you very much. Trish from Ontario, from a beautiful little town, please introduce yourself.
Thank you. I'm just honored to be here with all these women in amazing backgrounds. My name is Trish Trenner. I'm a director of recruitment and partnerships for Contact North for about 10 years, and I have a very fulfilling job. I get to work with Ontarians across the province and provide access to education. There are so many people in every walk of life. We focus on rural, remote. I get to work with military transitioning. It's all about building that new future. The majority of people I work with was what we would call mature students. And even though you may think that's easier, that is a tougher road to change your life, change your career. Just recently covering a center, the pandemic has displaced so many people from the careers they had and helping them go back to new careers. So my job is to focus on helping mature people gain their goals through education. I am not a cybersecurity guru, so I'm just in awe of all of you. My school of cybersecurity is CyberX. I've had the pleasure of working with Maddie and Ali, and they are teaching me. So I'm here to learn and listen and help the movement, help people understand how to get the pathway. Thank you so very much.
Trish, always a pleasure. We had fun last week where we played, we gamified cybersecurity with Breach the Keep, and moving over to Maggie, who is representing Canada, but also South America. I know that's a lot of weight on your shoulders from Ecuador, but Maggie, a little bit about yourself, please.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for having me here today. It's a pleasure to be with all of you across the world. And so my background is really currently I'm doing the role of AVP and security governance and risk management at Sun Life. But my background, I started again, as several others, self-taught. I went to school and over 22 years ago, I joined a little company doing computer programming. That is the specialization that I took in college. And so cryptography was my very first start in security. Accidentally, just fell into security. And I moved on to the banks, one of the big banks in Canada. Also as a security programmer, basically just again continuing on the path of crypto programmer. And I did do a little bit of project management. I thought I wanted to be a project manager, but I quickly went back to security again. So, and I've been doing security for all this time. As many of you know, there wasn't any programs in cybersecurity way back 20 plus years ago. So the closest you can find is computer science or programming, right? Later on in my career as a mature student, I went to Ryerson and I took an undergrad Bachelor of Commerce with a major in information technology management. And so that just furthered my career. I did an MBA most recently in risk management and corporate governance. So it's all as a mature student while working full time. Nowadays, we see a lot of programs in Ontario alone. We have over 50 institutions, post-secondary, university, and colleges that offer cybersecurity programs, which is really amazing based on what we've seen in the past. And the fact that the professionals in the industry, all of us have gotten together. Many friends that I have contributed to developing the curriculums of these programs. So it's really great programs that we have in Ontario. When it comes to Ecuador, I have to say I did come to Canada when I was 19 years old, and I was taking a cybersecurity program back home. Very expensive. Obviously, education is very expensive, even here at university and so on. But one of the major aspects nowadays is we have access to virtual events and so on. And we're lucky to live in a country where, you know, the internet is just like, you know, like anything else. Unless your kids are playing Fortnite and sucking up all your internet power, you have very good quality, right? That is not what happens in Ecuador or other developing countries. Like the quality is not very good there for the internet. So it's really hard still to have access virtually for students. And and just the internet alone. Not everyone has access to the internet. People are still on modems, dial-ups, and so on. So we are still a little bit, developing there. So it's harder to access education online and virtually. So that's what I can say about Ecuador. And then in the workplace, basically, we have we're lucky being here in Canada and Ontario, where I live, that we have so many companies and organizations that have rotational programs. So it's really great. Even if people didn't do information security undergrads, there is still also the accelerated programs in Ontario. Ryerson, Seneca, University of Toronto, York University have accelerated programs. So we are very lucky in that respect when compared to other parts of the world, like in comparison
Absolutely.
to Ecuador.
Yeah, very lucky we are. Thank you, Maggie, for that. And I know you just mentioned about the 50 plus institutions in Ontario with respect to cybersecurity education, and we'll definitely dig a little bit deeper on that. And now, the last person here, Heba here from Egypt. Heba, please do a little quick introduction about yourself.
Hello, everyone. I'm very excited to be here with you today. About me, I'm Heba. I'm from Egypt. I have studied about cybersecurity. I had a scholarship to study actually about cybersecurity. Originally, I'm a computer engineer, and just after graduation, I had this scholarship, and it was a 9 months scholarship where I studied about cybersecurity, and all my journey has started. Currently, I work as a senior red team consultant at Tsai. It's originally based in the United States. It's a consultancy, cybersecurity consultancy firm. My job is mainly about helping organizations to secure their business and applications and everything related to that. We do this through doing ethical hacking. We help them discover the vulnerabilities and flaws in their system. So my job is mainly technical. This is the part I'm interested in, the penetration testing, the ethical hacking. And besides my work, I'm really interested in doing voluntary work related to cybersecurity. I'm very interested in spreading awareness about cybersecurity and teaching people about cybersecurity. I do this for a wide range of audience. I started with kids, teenagers, parents, how to deal with their kids, because nowadays they are facing different challenges that we faced when we were kids, in addition to employees and students at university. And besides that, I organize events with my friend Sapna Singh here. We organize Capture the Flag competition, and all that with an objective to spread awareness about cybersecurity, because it's my passion. It's not just a job to me. I choose to work in cybersecurity because I love the field. I love the idea that we are protecting. I had the feeling that this kind of job had an impact. So I wanted to work in this field, and I do love working in cybersecurity.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Heba. So this is a question for everyone. It's a close-ended question. I'm going to do a sort of a poll here from everybody. And that is, when in your perspective should cybersecurity education begin? And I'm going to ask everybody very quickly, just the ages you think that cybersecurity education should begin. Heba?
Okay, starting with me, I think that cybersecurity should start at school, but the content we're going to give to them, it's going to be different according to the age segment we are targeting. So starting with kids at 8, we can give them awareness about cybersecurity, how to stay safe online. This is good for this age segment from 8 to like 10 or 12. And then starting from 12, before teaching them about cybersecurity and its technical details, cybersecurity or the security is an upper layer. Security of what? Application security, network security, and all that. So before teaching them about cybersecurity, we should teach them about technology, about coding, about programming, so that after that, we teach them the security of the programming, the security of that technology, because you cannot secure something you don't understand. So I believe schools should be more concerned about the technical topics, about the technology. That should be taught in school. And I think it's not early. No, I have tried that before to teach kids about technology and cybersecurity when they are at school. And amazingly, they were understanding and excited. And I remember the first time I went to a local cybersecurity competition in my local country here, and I found school students competing against people who are already working. And guess what? They were doing great and they were achieving ranks. And later on, I found that these students, whenever they just started their university, they started getting a part-time job and working as cybersecurity consultants. So starting at school is not early at all. Instead, we can have we can discover talented people early, and that will be very, very, very good to the cybersecurity community involved.
Interesting. And Maggie, the question for you as well. What age is too early or when should children be learning about cybersecurity? Would you agree with Heba about 8 to 10 years is when they should start?
A little bit earlier, I thought I've actually done it with my kids when they were in school and just recently virtually. Primary school, grade 1 is already a good age where they could truly understand. And I've done the programs from the ISC Square, the Getting Safe Online with Garfield cartoons, and they're definitely,
Very cool.
you know, they answer the questions. They truly understand. At 6 years old, it's already a good age.
And what are you in that program that you just mentioned with the IC squared, which is called what? Garfield Online, is it called?
It's called a Cyber Safe Online.
Okay, perfect. And it has images. What are they teaching there? Are they teaching things like cyberbullying and what kind of material?
Yeah, I can speak a little bit about that. So there is 3 main programs that they're teaching. So either you can volunteer there to kind of purchase it online, the material and the videos, and then ask permission from your teacher, or get the school to buy it. There is 3 programs. One of them is Be Kind. So the other one is about social media, what you can put and not put in line. And then the other one is about privacy. So 3 different paths. And I did, for example, the Be Kind online just a couple of weeks ago at my kids' virtual class. And she and her friends were like really great. I also know the notes that the teacher took afterwards, where she quizzed them after I went in. And my daughter, she showed me, and they had put little stickies on what they learned online, like be kind, don't be mean. So they really capture the knowledge. They know what it means to just be online, and cyberbullying, right? That it's just like sometimes making fun and just bring a happy face doesn't make it okay. So they just really, 6 years old is a perfectly okay age to already start with the kids with
6 years
with their
old.
learning.
Interesting. Janet, I know you have kids of yourself. Similar stories as Maggie, or what do you think in terms of accessing education, especially when it comes to cybersecurity? What age should it begin at?
Yes, I always say as early as possible, echoing Heba and what Maggie mentioned. I think as soon as the kids start school, they have to use the computer. In my opinion, as soon as they touch a computer technology, they need to be educated. What is computer? Why cybersecurity is important, and how to protect your private information, the sensitivity information. They might not understand all the technology at a 5-year-old, 6-year-old age level. However, you can educate them in terms of why it's important to secure your identity and not just give out information left and right. Because to a kid, they don't know anything. So you have to educate them in that sense in terms of privacy, and not so much the technology itself yet. But as they go into more of a 5th grader to middle school, I think they're ready to learn. I have 2 boys. My older son, I put him in a computer science related introductory class when he was at age 7. So he started off with that class. And my younger son, who is actually in Boy Scout, he had exposure to cyber security, cyberbullying, all that as a 2nd grader.
Wow.
So I think as early as possible, as long as whenever they start touching the computer, I think it's time to educate them.
Interesting. And Sapna, I would love to hear your view from a global perspective in terms of from India and Middle East, which you've seen. Would you agree with the rest of the panelists? The age of between 6 to 10 is the prime time, and number 2 is what are you seeing in India for providing education for ages at this range?
Yeah, I do agree with Maggie, Janet, and Heba, and we should introduce cyber education as early as possible, because I see even the kids of age 3, 4, 5 have access to a lot of devices in home. They have internet connectivity. They know how to enter passcode, browse their programs, and skip ads. So they know all. So we need to introduce the cyber hygiene and teach them what they are expected and how they are expected to behave when they are connected online, and how they can protect themselves when they are online. And moreover, as we are talking about how and when we should introduce the cybersecurity in schools. Definitely, it could be primary, secondary, or high schools, wherein based on that their age, we can curate or we can design specific programs for them so that they can develop their interest. Because at that age, they are very much curious. They are very much eager to learn new technologies, new skill sets. So like they are learning other skill sets, they can learn the cybersecurity or cyber hygiene. I would say at that age, at early age, we would say that cyber hygiene that they need to learn. It's as simple as that we have safety rules in our own lives, right? We talk to children that do not talk to strangers, or wear the seat belts when you are in car. So similar to those simple rules that we follow in our daily lives, we have to introduce to the children or students as well, so they are aware about the how they should act and what they should do when they are connected to social media platforms or chatting platforms, or even when they are playing video games online. In terms of formal education, I would say that still we have to do a lot, because many schools do not have formal cyber related courses or trainings available as of now. But I see lots of efforts from the communities that they are doing. They are specifically designing the programs for the education, and they have programs and courses for the children or students in Middle East as well as in India. That's what I have observed.
Yeah. And Belinda, from your perspective, you're involved in the networking side in terms of developing those bridges and bringing them together. I know I have a feeling everyone's going to agree that it should start early. What is your organization doing, or what are some accessible pieces of information that you can give that can help those viewers that are listening right now when it comes to providing cybersecurity education at a young age?
Yes, well, I totally agree that it needs to start as early as possible. And first and foremost, I think about my children. I have a 12-year-old and 16-year-old. My 16-year-old, he started using the computer when he was like 2. And my daughter, who is 12 now, it's just like I love that she has this grasp on technology, but at the same time, I'm constantly scared because we have TikTok, we have Roblox, and we have all these interactive games, and just making sure that they're being safe and that I'm educating them. So I start with home first. And as a part of the organization, we reach all age demographics, from young school age children, that's before secondary, all the way K through 12 and post-secondary, because it's something that involves all of us. I stress that point at all times. Cybersecurity is not a tech issue; it's an everybody issue, because we also have older adults and senior citizens, and they don't get a lot of press or people or a lot of attention, but they too are they fall victim so many times, way too often, to cyber scams and cyber spoofs that it's like ridiculous. And we all have those older persons in our family, and we want them to be safe. So, especially with Blacks in Technology, we provide those resources through trainings, webinars, events, and just messaging to alert them to different issues that they may not even take serious or have never thought about. Something as simple as, a social engineering, preying on those persons because of your mood. You could be depressed one day, and that's when you're liable to fall victim. Just those small things that they can do. So we're spreading the word most definitely. And with the school age children, I believe that cybersecurity goes beyond the classroom, because there are summer boot camps, there are after school programs, and there are so many here in the US that are virtual, not just in person, that they can take advantage of totally free. And we provide those resources and that information, because at the end of the day, like I said before, you don't know what you don't know. Not everything is for pay. There are a lot of free resources, and you need to know. So as early as possible.
Interesting. Trish, to end off this conversation about accessing information, or at what age, love to hear your views on this as well.
Thanks, Maddie. As Belinda said, it's a lifelong learning. It's from young to all the way to mature. I think that's a really great point. I'd like to shout out to two great organizations. Girls That Code and Canada's Learning Code offers complete free opportunities for, as you said, boot camps, doing different things like that. But in speaking with a colleague of mine from Métis Nation, it starts with the parents. You can educate the children in school, but if the parents have digital literacy or not familiar with that, you really have to have a campaign to have them learning so they can support the kids too. Because as Belinda said, it's in the classroom and out the classroom. And sometimes when it's just thinking kids are on playing video games where they really actually are learning different things in technology, it's a fully supportive, encompassing, lifelong learning skill. Thank you, Maddie.
You're very welcome. And this really, we've taken about 30 minutes just discussing this, and the reason why this is so important to hear from a global perspective, especially to parents that are listening, or those, anyone really that's listening, how important it is to really focus on cybersecurity education at a very young age. There's many opportunities out there, various trainings out there that, as Maggie mentioned, that could be animated and kid friendly, all the way down to videos. And we're seeing a huge digital change and a transformation with COVID. Right now, you're seeing kids at as young as 3, 4, 5 jumping in front of a computer, all the way up to 84, 90 grandmothers that are actually using Zoom that would have never ever. And as we all have sort of agreed, cybersecurity is important to everyone. I want to change the conversation and talk about why is it important at a young age, the accessibility of education from a global perspective. And I want to take it over to Heba. Heba, about 1400 years ago, the man exists by the name of Ali ibn Abi Talib, who had an amazing quote on knowledge, which is knowledge is life and cure. With over 300 million children who do not have access to education in the world. I mean, their biggest concern is just getting food on the table. So that's a separate conversation, and unfortunately, it's not something we are able to discuss today. It is something that I would like to discuss in the future with all of you. However, with respect to those that are able to connect to the internet, why do you think it's important? And I know you spend a lot of time with kids. Why is it important for kids to understand cybersecurity at a young age?
I believe, just like Sapna was saying, when you teach your kids don't talk to stranger because I took them out in the club, for example. So this is a wide place. They are playing around and there will be strangers talking to them. This is in the club. When it comes to the cyber world, it's somehow exactly the same. You are having students staying all the time on their tablets, playing games, or maybe even they're advanced at that, they are using the social media. Now there are new threats they are facing. So we should talk to them and teach them. What if you face a stranger talking to you and asking you for X and Y and Z? What should you do? And tell them what threats they can face. Just like we were saying, don't talk to stranger when you are in the club playing alone. When you are playing online, how can you be safe? So it's very important because this is a new word for them. It's the online word. And actually, parents won't be like watching their kids all the time, what they are watching, who they are speaking to. So we should make them prepared to face these threats alone. And in addition to that, they should have the confidence to speak to their parents if they saw anything suspicious. They should be free to do that because it's very important that they talk to their parents if they find anything suspicious.
Yeah, it's very powerful. And Maggie, I'm going to take it over to you in a very quick story. I have a 11, 12-year-old son who plays Fortnite, just like how we were talking right now in Minecraft, etc. And a couple of weeks ago, he was playing, and I noticed in the corner of my eye, he shut down his computer, a little bit frustrated, came and sat down, and he was flushed. And I looked at him and I said, "What happened?" And he said nothing, and he couldn't speak. After a few minutes, I realized something, either he got bullied or something had happened. And I looked at him and I said, he was about to cry. And at that point in time, he said, "I was hacked. Someone was bullying me and I was hacked." And I said, "What did you do?" He goes, "The first thing I did was shut down my computer." So, and this is why it is important for kids, especially at a young age, to understand uh, basic elements and basic cybersecurity hygiene. Why do you think, why did you decide to ensure to provide your children with that cybersecurity education? I understand you know, eat, breathe, and sleep it every day. So you see
Yeah.
it from its ugly view. But why was it important for you, and why is it important for parents that are listening right now to ensure that they spend time on educating their children?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thanks, Mahdi. There is two main reasons. One is self-serving. Obviously, we all want to protect our children, right? And I'm sorry about your kid. My kid had a very similar situation a couple of Christmases ago. We're lucky his uncles and aunts and grandparents give him lots of presents in Christmas. Most of them are monetary nowadays because he wants to purchase the V-Bucks and all of those things online to play all the different games and so that's what he got. He got money, and so we put it in his PayPal account, and he was hacked. Right, so somebody told him that he can get uh, a mod or a different skin or whatever in the game. I'm not gonna get into the details of that. Different skins in the Fortnite game cost money, and then somebody was kind of like just like they will do in real life if it was person to person, right? They would come in and say, and they started to say how, oh, you have an awesome account, all the skins, how did you get all of those? Do you want to let me try for a minute? Just give me your password. I just want to play for like a few minutes in your account. And he gave them the password, and this person was only a young kid who actually ended up getting into the account, went and changed his Gmail account password, even took the 2FA authentication, the MFA authentication that we had to notify us, and my husband was already sleeping early that day. And so he didn't see the notification. Otherwise, he could have prevented with MFA. So exactly the same scenario, he was hacked. And I wanted to make sure that first I teach him how to use passwords, not share your password. I had gone to schools and to his classroom as well before the pandemic, where I basically told the children, you should treat your passwords the same as your underwear. Do not share them with anybody, and do not show them with anybody. So
That's
these
a
are
good
the
one.
things that stick to their kids. You gotta use things that will stick with their heads, right? Because it's kind of funny, and then they'll remember, and they're like, just laughing but so that's a self-serving purpose. I don't want my kid to lose all his $300 or $400 that, and he was crying and so on. So it was sad to see that his first experience with being hacked and getting some money stolen from him, right? And then the second purpose is really, how do we build the cyber talent education in the gaps that we have, right? The pipeline, there is a gap that we have on the talent. I am a manager who has been for many years trying to hire resources for my organization. It's just really hard to get some talent, right? Either they're too expensive, or either there isn't enough of them to fulfill exactly the jobs that you need. So when you get to the schools early enough, then you're able to debunk some misconceptions that are predominantly related to cybersecurity is too hard for girls, or it's not cool for girls and it's only cool for boys. I have a daughter and a son, so I definitely don't want my daughter to have these preconceived notions that something which I find it particularly cool. Maybe I'm just, you know, uh, uh, my thinking it's not associated with the stuff that you hear from kids nowadays, where they just have these preconceived notions. Other things such as if you don't have a cybersecurity undergrad degree, that you're never able to get into security. That's absolutely not true. I know amazing people who have gone through astronomy, have taken history undergrad degree, and they couldn't get a job, and then they decided to take one of these accelerated programs or self-taught themselves on how to get that. So it is all these misconceptions that need to be debunked, and you want to get early enough in the schools to kind of get that knowledge out there so that they know that cybersecurity is an option for anybody, whether you're a boy or a girl, whether you're black or white or any other nationalities. it's an option for everyone. So that's my second objective, to really get early enough and have them understand that. And the more people are exposed to it, and the more people see that there are cyber women there is diverse people in that field. If you see it, then you can be it. So that's one of the elements that really helps to go out there as professionals in the field. We need to do that, and that will help us to solve. There was the gap of cybersecurity talent. There was a survey that was done by the ISC Square, which is the most people know that is the certification body for CISSP and all the security certifications. They did a study that just last year alone, the gap globally was 4.1 billion people that we needed in the workforce, and it went down to 3.
Wow.
And because of everything went online, so we needed a lot more people actually securing the remote workforce and so on. So the cyber pipeline actually decreased, and but it's it's kind of hard to get the resources, and most of the people that work in the industry will know that people go around. And when we can go and actually build the next generation early enough, and when primary school start giving them the motivation, and then high school, they already will be kind of leaning towards this. If we start in high school, they've already made up their minds of what they're going to take in university. So I think it's a little bit too late. So that's kind of my 2 purposes of doing this: self-fulfilling, self-serving, and the second one, I do want to help with solving the pipeline and the gap.
And thank you for that. And we're going to be moving over to Janet, and we'll be talking about certification and industry standards. But just before I do that, Maggie, we teach our kids sharing is caring, and this is a prime example with your son, with my son, and I'm sure there's other stories. One of the things that social engineering is utilized, the way it's utilized, especially with kids, is prying on that innocence, right? Of sharing is caring. Hey, can I just you log in and play your game, and that's the way they've entered. And I'm glad you're able to talk about how knowledge brings you really from darkness to light, and that's where it's funny actually. I'm probably going to use this down the road. I don't know how it might come across about you don't share your underwear, right? You don't show your underwear and you don't share your underwear. It's very funny. So moving over to Janet, with respect to certification and industry standards, can you talk to us a little bit about why is it important, looking for, or what type of certifications are out there, which ones to pick, how do you know what's right for you? A little bit about the who, what, where, why, and how when it comes to industry certifications, please, Janet.
Sure, Maddie. I'm so glad you asked that question. So it's really depending on your interest, which route you want to go. There is a technology route and a management route. So in terms of technology, for me, actually, I started out with the A+ certification just to understand all the different technology terminologies. And as you guys know, 20 years ago, there's not even the term cybersecurity yet. So fast forward, for me to really dive in more about cybersecurity, I had to go out and get a Security Plus certification. And that's something I would highly recommend those who are interested in the technology aspect of cybersecurity to get the Security Plus certification. And prior to that, getting the A+ certification and Network Plus certification are also very helpful. And CISSP is the Certified Information System Security Professional. That is more of a management route, but also requires 5 years of experience to get that certification. So I would say you want to get some hands-on technology related certification before you move on to management. And for right now, I know a lot of technology are moving to the cloud. There's also the CCSP, Certified Cloud Security certification as well, which also carries a 5-year requirement experience. So it all depends what your interests are, from the technology route to management route, but it all really begins with a passion that you want to learn. Those are my insights.
Very good. And I mean, and for the viewers out there, you have your amazing organizations like SANS and EC Council and IC Squared and ISACA. And I mean, if you just Google certifications out there, there's a list of them out there. And yes, they can be very expensive, but education is expensive. A lot of times I get messages on LinkedIn or social media saying, hey, which one should I choose? And I think you brought up something important, which was, is it the technical aspect or is it the management aspect that you decide to kind of go down the cybersecurity route? And Sapna, if you can talk a little bit about India and some of the certifications out there. As we all know, globally, from a global perspective, some of the brightest and amazing stars are coming out of India when it comes to cybersecurity. So definitely there is something that is being done right in India. And if you can expand on that, Sapna, we would love to hear that.
Yes, definitely. So as I told, I did MS in information security, and after that, I wanted to learn more about hacking because I was interested in technical stuff. So I did CH from EC Council, and I believe that still CH holds value, and
Very
there are a
huge.
lot more aspirants, those who want to join the cybersecurity, and newcomers are going for CH in India. And other courses of EC Council and certifications from EC Council. And after some time, I did opted for CISSP as well, because I wanted to understand information security from management point of view. So CISSP is also a great certifications that is very much famous in India and in Middle East as well. And there are certifications related to cloud now, since we are moving to cloud, so such as certifications from Azure or AWS or Google Cloud. There is one certification from IC Square called CCSP, as well as from CSA Alliance, we have CCSK. So these certifications are very much something that the professionals in India are interested in, and they are going for it. Apart from in Middle East, I have seen that people also go for SAN certifications a lot. They have something in their queue year along, and they want to learn and they want to understand how they can utilize the knowledge that they gain from certifications in their daily jobs. And moreover, I would say that certifications also play the role that we need as of now, because we have millions of jobs in the market where employers are looking for skilled professionals. So certifications do give the extra advantage, and it's a differentiator for your resume. Though it's not only something that we need to rely only on certifications, and it's not only the criteria for success in the cybersecurity, but it does hold value, and it does make difference in your career and in your knowledge if you are willing to invest your time, or if you have a commitment, and if you want to follow a structured path that is especially designed by experienced professionals, that they have invested the time to design these specific courses and certifications, and now you can follow and learn something new that would really help in your career.
Investing in your time. One of the most valuable things, I think the most valuable advice that anyone could give to anyone who's looking at taking on the journey of cybersecurity. And Belinda, I'm sure you mentioned that a lot of times to people that you speak to is really you got to put your time in. Going through the journey of cybersecurity and when people come up to you, what kind of references do you give, or what kind of advice do you give with respect to certifications or any industry standards out there?
Well, first and foremost, um, I see myself as, someone that they can look towards, because someone referenced like the technology gap or the gap in employment with different underrepresented populations. And knowledge is key, but at the same time, if a child or student or a transitioning adult, if they can't actually see someone who looks like them doing that skill, then it's almost like it's not real to them. It's just like a child. They don't do what you say, they do what you do. For it to become real to them, they have to see that. And unfortunately, right now, there are not a lot of people in the cybersecurity space or tech in general that look like a lot of these underrepresented populations. And that's one of the main things that we're trying to change by showing them that, hey, here's someone that looks just like you, who came exactly where you came from. Look what they did. And personally with me, same example that I show my kids here in my home is that you never stop learning. You can always pivot, you can always transition, and there's something that's called transferable skills. Although my background was mostly education, I was always up on the latest technology. I mean, technology for me is just like video games to a kid. It excites me. So I want to learn more. I want to grow. And when I decided to transition into cybersecurity, like I told you before, I was met with a lot of resistance, as if it was something that I shouldn't even attempt, because that's just not for me, because of those misconceptions. And I do want to make it clear that a lot of that pushback came from, not just the typical, Caucasian male in the workplace, but also persons who look just like me, because they had fed into the misconceptions about technology, about what you can do and where you can go with it. So we have to change all the mindsets, not just a particular race or target area. And more importantly, with Blacks in Technology, we have partnered with a lot of very large organizations where we're actually changing the landscape. Membership, of course, into Blacks in Technology is totally free. But what we provide is just like, you can't put a price on it. For example, we have a partnership with the Linux Foundation, where they've created a program where it's actually a scholarship program that to our members is totally free. And they receive all free training. And also they pay for the certification testing, and it's all virtual at the end. They can get certifications in certified Kubernetes administrator, applications developer, also certified in Hydro Ledger, Fabric developer, all of these different certifications that, are foreign to most people. And then we have other programs as well. We have a partnership with Amazon, where you can actually train to get your AWS Cloud Practitioner certification, totally free. And it's actually facilitated by Amazon facilitators, employees who work there. And upon completion, you have the opportunity to possibly get placed within Amazon right after completing your certification. Like I said, the course is totally free. And then they provide vouchers at the end, and the list goes on and on. Microsoft, Facebook, and these are totally free opportunities that we are spreading. So, and with me personally, I didn't know about the certification actually, I have a master's degree, and I don't take away from any of my education. I love everything that I've learned, and I built upon that because I believe in transferable skills, of course. But who knew that you could have a discipline that's not in technology, but still receive training, whether you're self-taught or you go through a boot camp or you major in computer science, you can actually take a certification and can become hired. So I'm a big proponent of certifications, especially in the cybersecurity realm. But we need to do a better job of letting those prospects know where to begin. Is A plus still, necessary, C++, or can I just start with security plus?
Exactly.
That thing.
Yeah, no, thank you. Very powerful, and about identity, and looking at those role models that are in those positions that you can say, hey, well, you know what, I can do it too, and hashtag stomp divide. So moving over to Trish, and we will in a few minutes, and I know we have about 13 to 14 minutes left, and whenever I put on these panels, I always try to think to myself and say, hey, I want to get a message across to the viewers. And so far, we've come across one of the message, and that is start early. Start early, make it fun, make it exciting. You have to get involved. So you can't just say, hey, take this, go open this video and watch it, and then you walk away and then you're not there. You have to really be around them and involved and explain to them the importance of this, because you never know, that could shape their future. That could maybe take them down a path of STEM, of some sort of part of technology that they may enjoy. Moving over to self-taught. Over the years, speaking to many people from the cybersecurity industry, from CISOs all the way down from a management, pen testers, et cetera, being self-taught is one of the catalysts in really shaping someone to become an expert cybersecurity professional. Yes, education is important. Yes, certification industry standards are important. Yes, experience is important. But taking someone who's never been in school, who has self-taught and is one of the top of the line pen testers, would get hired in a minute over someone who has taken school but is not good at their craft. Trish, if you can expand a little bit about your journey of how you've been self-taught when it comes to cybersecurity now. I know CyberX has been your ecosystem, but some of the things you've learned just from attending events, because that is one way of or methodology of being self-taught. Trish?
Thanks, Maggie. So CyberX has taught me a lot. Attending something, coding for veterans. I work with the military and understanding that they're taking people who have transitioned, as Belinda said. Belinda, I'm so glad you're like right behind me. Use all the words that I'm going to use. It's about that transferable skill. My education, I was going to be athletic trainer for the Montreal Canadiens. That was my absolute goal.
Wow.
I did BA kinesiology, but now I'm helping change people's lives. So when I talk about those pathways, even though we have great schools and programs in Ontario, as Maggie has said, it is almost debilitating on people, how people understand how to get started. So our organization works across, we are Ontario based and just opened up in BC, by the way. We're going to be working with 6 different, or is it 6 or 10 different First Nation communities, and that's all about the support. So it's about the support and letting people know that no matter what your station in life, you can change it as needed by being self-taught. So we work with thousands of resources through local libraries, through online programs that are absolutely free. I was just working with a gentleman last night who is a transitioning military who decided he wants to get in cybersecurity. I'm writing down the names of all my new colleagues in the CyberX world, and they'll be doing some mentoring and some talking to these people. But bottom line is just starting to explore, starting to look at what, and there's free courses available. Then it takes you on your pathway to those certifications. But as Janet said, you have to figure out which road you want to take. Is it management? Is it technology? And if it is, what are the skills you need to know in there? And that's part of the exciting part of my job. I get to have people say, wow, be self-taught. But the biggest and hardest thing is those transferable skills. It is something in any industry, in any sector right now that isn't easily transferable, but encouraging people and believing that it can be transferred, working with employment services, working with different services to understand that pathway. Mine is just sheer excitement, Maddie. I'm just super
That's
stoked
awesome.
to be a part of this.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know about the Montreal Canadiens and your goal to, I mean, one of my favorite players was a player by the name of Patrick Waugh, one of the greatest goalies of NHL to ever existed. And one of his favorite quotes, or one of my favorite quotes about him is, I play a position that makes mistakes. He's a goalie. So every time there's a goal on him, he's made a mistake, and that just makes him better. And through that resiliency, he just became one of the greatest goalies to ever exist. I don't know if you agree or not there, Trish, but if you're a Montreal Canadian fan, I'm sure you do. Moving over to Heba, and I want to focus in. We're about 9 to 10 minutes away, and I want this to be a resource for our on-demand viewers in the future that are watching in the future. So I'm speaking to those in the future right now, and I get to do that, which is kind of fun. And that is, from a self-taught standpoint, what are some of the resources that our viewers can pick up on, or some of the experiences you've had and some advice that you can give? So really, I want to change the focus of this conversation on your personal advices of some of the things you can do to teach yourself when it comes to cybersecurity. So Heba, can you talk a little bit about, and not spend longer than 2 minutes, and then I ask everyone on the panel not longer than 2 minutes, please, Heba, about some of the advices you can give to those that are listening right now when it comes to self-taught resources and experiences that you've come across?
Yeah, first of all, when someone reach out to me to ask me about how they should start in cybersecurity first, I would love to encourage them to know which domains they are interested in. There are various domains in cybersecurity. So at first they should explore, read articles to know which domains they are interested in. And accordingly, they should start their career or they start learning about that exact topic. And also most of the people who are reaching out to me, they didn't even start their job and they are mostly students and not all of them is financially privileged. So I always refer to the free stuff. And I believe it is okay to just start the cybersecurity. And when you start your job, after that, you can start taking certification and it will be funded by the corporate you are working for. So starting with the free material, it depends upon which domain you are interested in. For example, let's take a sample, web penetration testing. If you want to be an ethical hacker and test the web applications out there on the internet, First of all, you need to understand how the application is working in the first place, how the web is communicating, the protocol, and everything related to how it works. Because to hack a system, you need to first understand deeply how it works. So this is the first step, and they should focus on it and give it a huge amount of time, because this is the main. After that, they should start knowing what attacks can the application face. And there's a WASP top 10, it's amazing. And there's many vulnerable machines out there, and capture the flag competitions that are made that help people practice on these attacks, so that the students learn how to identify this vulnerability, how to exploit this vulnerability. Similar to the vulnerable machines out there, it has many security flaws. It is designed with educational purpose to help students identify the vulnerability and exploit it and learn about it. So they can start practicing with that, and it gives them a very solid place to start. And then comes to the another place. How can they prove that they are capable of starting a job as a web penetration testing, for example? There are capture the flag competition out there that is made in even every country. They can start participating and prove themselves and get ranks. Okay, besides that, what else they can do? They can participate in bug bounty programs. Bug bounty programs, briefly, you have a platform where many companies have like a partnership with them, and they are saying hackers from all over the world, come and test at my company, and whenever you find a security vulnerability, report it, and you're gonna get a bounty for this. And there will be another things like Hall of Fame. So this is a nice like start to prove their security capabilities, to start identify the vulnerabilities. These are a good start to them to get a job in the cybersecurity. And after they get a job, they can start going through the certification process according to the domain they are interested in, whether it is web penetration testing, as I was saying, as an example, or whatever. There are various domains in the cybersecurity. This is always my approach.
It's well said. I mean, what you just mentioned right now from a global perspective is the same everywhere. So if you ask someone in Canada, they would say pretty much yes, I agree with Heba. So I'm going to ask Maggie from Canada. Do you agree with what Heba is saying in terms of some of the self-taught advices that she just gave right now? Maggie?
Sorry,
That's okay.
absolutely. Yeah, I was on mute. I agree with everything that Heba said. One of the things that Heba, you probably the WebGoat project, right? That's probably one of the ones that from OWASP that most people that are starting on pen testing do, right? And a lot of free tools to download and so on. So definitely agree 100% with everything that Heba said. And here in Ontario, there is a lot of networking groups that meet on a regular basis and provide conferences and materials. One of them is CyberX, of course, top of the line. And then there is others as well. I have friends who run these webinars, events, monthly events and summits, and even career fairs where they bring organizations such as myself to kind of pick some good talent and do some projects on the spot and so on, capture the flag and things like that. One of them is cyber tech and risk events that happen, sponsored by typically by by big organizations and banks and so on. The OWASP Toronto chapter meets on a monthly basis as well. And a lot of the elements that Heba mentioned, they will be discussed here in the OWASP Toronto chapter. The ISC Square, the body of the security certifications, the Toronto chapter also meets on a monthly basis. All of these right now, due to COVID, are running online sessions. So be sure to just check out their websites. The TASK, which is the Toronto Area Security Clutch, used to be good pizza and beer. Now it's online. so still it's meeting on a regular basis. They have amazing speakers from big organizations and come and provide really hands-on sessions to learn about security. These are all free. You can just sign up for it online. And I've already mentioned CyberX. Thanks for having me here. It's been also great to check these sessions online. You can log on and check past sessions. It's really good sources to get just free training and material. So
Perfect.
yeah.
And I'm glad you brought that up. So what you brought up, and just to summarize for our viewers here, so far we have different websites, free websites out there that offer capture the flag, bug bounties, exercises, scenarios, whatever the case may be, just self-learn. The other one we came up with is networking, join groups that are out there. A lot of them are free, but you can share resources, get information. For example, our community, which is cyberexchange.ca, and many other amazing organizations out there. And then events, right? There's events all over the world, especially with the digital transformation. There's an event happening almost every day that you can learn information from. Take notes, take it as its classroom. Don't just sit there and jump on your Instagram or your Facebook, but actually pay attention to the information that's being shared, because that information is valuable from people from all walks of life, just like as you can see on this panel here. Janet, is there anything you wanted to add to those three things as a resource to our viewers to gain more information?
Yes, definitely. Just to echo Hepa and what Maggie mentioned, it's so important to really attend the events that you're interested, like you were mentioning about CyberX, and also ask questions. The more questions you ask, the more exposure you'll get in terms of the answers you get. And also take the extra mile and follow up, network with the people that might be interested of you, what they're headed toward, and ask them questions. But before you meet up with them, I will also say do your homework. It helps you know which area, direction you want to go. And I find myself watching a lot of YouTube videos, TED Talks. Just educate yourself on what areas before you go and ask and network with the person, so that you kind of know where you're going and the person that you're talking with can further direct you where to go next. That's all I highly recommend. And self-learning, self-taught is doable, but you also need to have hands-on experience. Once you self-taught yourself to something, I would say take a class, attend a seminar, webinar, however you like, and follow up with somebody with expertise in that area and move on further. That's what I would like to add. Back to you, Maddie.
Well said about asking questions. We live in a world our questions create. Very powerful. If you take a pause and really understand that quote, you'll really be able to enlighten yourself. And Sapna, just taking over to India, I know we've covered everything. I'm hoping you can top this with the trump card on top and say, hey, wait a minute, I got one thing that I'm going to tell you about. But is there anything else to add to an already heavy and amazing list?
Yes, I think like everybody said, in India, we have a couple of communities like Null. So Null has chapters in major cities, and I would recommend that those who are in India, if they are interested, they can join these communities, and they have monthly, once or twice, full day programs wherein they provide complete hands-on training from the attacker and defender both perspective. Apart from that, we have OAS chapters in major cities, we have DEFCON chapters, and right now everything is online, so they can attend from anywhere, anytime. And as well as I would also add that to learn, they need to start sharing as well. So they can learn and start, taking some classes for others, so that they brainstorm and they deepen their learning, and then they share with others. Because suppose we have 30 students in a null chapter, they learn something. Now these 30 can educate others, and that can be like thousands in tens of thousands, or tomorrow lakhs. So that is how we need to start participating in the communities and the events, and start educating ourselves and start educating others.
Perfect. And Belinda, I know you're actively involved in opening a gateway to allow people to really learn. Is there anything that BIT is doing that we can tell our viewers that they can engage with?
They're doing so much. I mean, reaching so many areas. Currently, we have 40 chapters, and we're growing. We're in the US. We're also in Africa and the UK right now, presently.
Can anyone join, by the way, Belinda? Anyone from anywhere in the world?
Okay. Anyone can join. Yes, and it's totally free.
Wow.
I forgot to mention, free is my middle name.
Free.
Free. Just like the commercial, free. I take advantage of all, free opportunities, because I don't believe that, there are no opportunities. If you don't see any, you're not looking hard enough. There are opportunities. But also, I like to take this time to thank Trish for mentioning, and thank you for what you're doing for military personnel and their families, because actually my whole transition into cybersecurity started with being a proud veteran spouse that I am. Actually, I applied for and I was awarded a scholarship through the IVMF program, which is the Institute for Veterans and Military Families. I got a one-year scholarship to attend Syracuse University, actually where I studied cybersecurity, and actually they paid for the voucher for my certification for my CompTIA Security Plus as well. And now I actually facilitate those classes for others who are wanting to do that. So kudos to you, Trish, because I'm a big proponent of military families as well. And we also need to provide those resources to them as well, and not to run out of time. Also, I took advantage of the Cisco Networking Academy, which is a great program as well. They have programs inside of programs, where I was actually able to take a 6-month course in Python. That was awesome. Great instructors. Did I mention free? Yeah, free.
Real name.
Yes, sans.org. So many different resources for various different underrepresented populations, and also to piggyback a little bit with the veterans. There's an organization called Fed VTE, and it's the federal virtual for virtual education, and they also provide totally free cybersecurity and technology trainings as well. So that's another aspect I don't think that was mentioned. And also I'm a part of the NICE working group, and it's the National Initiative for Cyber Education. And there is here in the US a NICE cybersecurity framework where actually will provide you all the information that you need as far as various career paths, which you need to proceed in a career in that area. So check out NICE, NIST, NICE, NIST, and it's a federal program. Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you, Belinda and Trish. To end this off, I know, on behalf of CyberX, first of all, I do want to thank our military, just not in Canada, but around the world, the servicemen, the servicewomen, our veterans that, help protect our countries, our borders. I mean, our event was called Beyond Borders. Unfortunately, we live in a world where there are borders. However, we, as one of our objectives was to dismantle those borders and bring women in cybersecurity as a unified front. So Trish, just any positive thoughts that you wanted to send our way and some love our way before we conclude our panel here?
I always want to send CyberX love. They're awesome. But I just wanted to say to my colleagues around the table, it has just been an honor listening to your pathways. And what I would say to anybody who's looking at cybersecurity is don't be afraid. I am not 20 years old. I'm a little older than that, and I'm going down this avenue. So it's about reaching out. It's about getting help to know what your pathways are. We always tell anybody in any sector who's looking to make a change, do you know somebody in that sector? If you do, call them up for now, a virtual coffee. Ask them what they do every day. Ask them how they got there. Utilize resources in everywhere. Globally, there are resources available. You just have to be brave enough to know that you can change your stars, that you have the opportunity to pursue the goals that you want. And if you have a chance to connect with CyberX and all the resources they have, or anybody around this table, this has been just an amazing pleasure. So thank you very much, everyone, and thank you, Maddie.
Trish, thank you for those closing remarks. You really, in a unique way, summed up our 8-9 days of events that we've put on here, and all the hard work that all our partners, sponsors, speakers, volunteers, panelists, the whole ecosystem, what they've been able to contribute for this amazing initiative. We are one of many others trying to really bridge that gap and break those borders down. So I would like to thank Heba from Egypt, Maggie from Canada, Trish from Ontario, Canada as well, Belinda from the great United States of America, Sapna from India. I'm looking forward to coming to India again to have some really good dal chawal, and Janet from the Silicon Valley. Thank you for all of your time, everyone. On behalf of CyberX, I would like to thank everyone for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.